Three. Again, the miss by Nowitzki. And here's Miami. You hate to say it so often, but it is what it is. Another early exit in the playoffs last year for these Mavericks. They spent so much money. Another disappointment for them.
You know what? It just shows you how difficult it is to have postseason success, Kevin. It's really hard. Teams like the Lakers and Celtics have made it look easy in the past.
From the sideline.
Well, Kevin, Rick Carlisle and I got a chance to talk just for a bit. He believes this game could come down to the battle at their opponent's end of the court. He said, we know they're a very smart defensive team, but we can't let that stop us from asserting ourselves. We need to be the team setting the tone. Guys?
Thanks, Doris. Clark, so much for advanced scouting.
Sometimes that's a false prophecy, though, and you have to adjust to what the other team is coming out and running.
Clark, going back to that point about Kidd and Dirk, window closing or window closed?
I would say closing, Kevin, because they still have much to offer. Now you have to be very selective in how you massage their minutes during the course of the season, practices and game, and then you'd like to see an infusion of some young, active, energetic talent to take some of the load off of those guys sooner rather than later.
Chandler, the pass to Nowitzki. Off the mark with the three ball.
He hasn't been able to get on track here.
Clark, when you look at Dirk Nowitzki, an absolute gunner, but 7 feet tall. He can hit that shot over almost everybody.
Yeah, and the other thing is, Kevin, you have to play him so close because he's always a threat. And that gives him a big advantage. I mean, he can bait you into foul. That ability also creates lanes for him to attack off the dribble.
Outside Kidd. So it's Miami. Here's Wade. Tyson Chandler pulls it in. Not a bad start for the Mavericks. It's a three-point game. And stolen by LeBron. The Heat leading by 3. Here's Wade.
Great team leads to easy offense.
Here's Kidd. Nowitzki left side. Nowitzki, no good.
This court has been a disaster for him, Kevin. He just can't buy a bucket.
Stolen by Butler. Deflects the pass. Outside Anthony. Chandler against Bosh. Wade against Terry. It's blocked. And some changes here for the Mavericks. Brendan Haywood, he's checked in for Butler. And it's Stevenson in for Jason Terry. Adonis Haslam, he's checked in for the Heat. Chalmers comes in for Mike
but it does show you that it's a team effort when you talk about being effective at the defensive end of the floor.
Wade gets the bucket.
Way to move it up court. That's a great pass.
Average trailed by 7. Nowitzki, that's for 2. Nails it from the wing. Nowitzki's got 5 now.
He's just so gifted offensively. He's a tough guy to match up with.
And here's LeBron outside. Kept alive. Here's Haslam, and that's good. Laying it in.
That's great hustle there, Kevin. Persistence pays.
And Dallas has possession. They trail by 7. Here's Stevenson. On the shot. They go to the strike for 2. That's on Dwayne Wade.
Tough interior defense means not allowing easy baskets. Goodbye.
And good on the second, so it makes them both. Here's Chalmers. Chandler is tagged with the reach. That's his first foul. Heat leading by 5. Cuts off the pass.
And look at what they've done, or rather what they haven't done. Hold on to the ball.
Again, when this one misses. Here's Miami now. Leading by 5. He's picked up by Kidd. LeBron can't get it to go.
He has yet to get into the flow of this game. His teammates have done their part. They need him to pick his game up.
Here's Bosh. LeBron outside. The second clutch. Gets it to go. LeBron's now got his second basket of the game.
The defense can't do much at that point. You got to do your work early and be preventative.
First quarter over, and big numbers up on the board. And the second quarter about to get underway. Here's LeBron, 7-point differential. So with Wade on the bench, this is who Eric Spoelstra has on the floor. Chalmers is out there with Mike Miller. Then there's Haslam. Then it's LeBron James and Dampier. Last season, LeBron James' second consecutive season as the league MVP.
And he dominated, Kevin. He was second in the league in scoring, 6th in assists, top 10 in steals. Not surprising.
Oh, and the jam by LeBron.
I love his tenacity and aggressiveness on offense. He's lightning quick and loves to take it to the rim.
Clark, some mixed results for the Heat last year against the Western Conference.
Yep, they were a perfect 500 against the Western Conference, Kevin. Given what the Magic did against the West last year, you'd think the Heat would aim to improve that if they want to win the division.
Yeah, you know, if you look at it, Clark, those games against the West were a big part of the gap between those two teams in the standings.
And, Kevin, you can't win your division unless you can handle your business outside of the division. And that includes games against the Western Conference. You can simply tell, Kevin, I mean, they want the ball more right now.
Gets a good look. And another basket for Miami. And, Clark, sometimes it just comes down to who wants it more.
It makes all the difference, Kevin. Tenacity, persistence, going after the ball. And that's what we're seeing here so far.
Here's LeBron. 10 points for him. Picked up by Nowitzki. Nowitzki against LeBron.
The D served it up on the platter, and he still wasn't able to convert. He's got to be disappointed.
Here's Barea. Shot, no good. And it's the Heat taking it the other way. The biggest lead of the game, 15 points. Here's LeBron. And again, LeBron missing. And so here is Dallas. A 12-point game. Takes it up. Buries the short-range shot. LeBron's now got 12.
He's been extremely active out there, and he has the stats to prove it. Terrific hustle.
A nice shot by Barea. And here's Miami, leading by 12. Graceful finish on the alley-oop.
Boy, these guys have a terrific feel for each other. You have to in order to make plays like that.
Don't you think you can tell that they love being on the court together?
Boy, they're having a good time. The fast break left the defense discombobulated. As a result, he had the open three.
Tipped. Nowitzki with the steal. 8 points for him.
I really like the fact that he's getting the touches he needs here after not scoring a single point in that first quarter.
The Heat leading by 9. Throws it up. Knocked loose. Here is Barea. He's guarded by Haslam. Barea, no good.
Right now, boy, they're playing strong on the glass. +8 in rebound.
Oh, and the jam by LeBron. And Dallas calls their first time out of the game. The Heat making a switch here. Wade's checked in. Here is Barea. 10 points for him. The three. No good. And Miami will go the other way with the ball. Wade, right side. Out of bounds. Dallas takes possession. For LeBron James, last season ended with another tough defeat. This time, Clark, courtesy of the Boston Celtics.
And it's got to be frustrating for him, Kevin, to be the MVP, to have the best record in the league, but yet again, meet defeat before you can even get back to the finals. Disappointing.
Now the Mavericks with it. They trail by 11. You hate to say it so often, but it is what it is. Another early exit in the playoffs last year for these Mavericks. They spent so much money. Another disappointment for them.
You know what? It just shows you how difficult it is to have postseason success, Kevin. It's really hard. Teams like the Lakers and Celtics have made it look easy in the past, but it's a difficult thing to do. I mean, heck, that's those teams are good, the Mavericks, but they run into teams that typically are able to have their number. They look great on paper, have a great regular season, but then in the postseason, the matchups get the best of them.
Let's go to our sideline reporter, Doris Burke. Doris, what do you have?
Well, guys, Udonis Haslem returned to the Heat for half the money other teams were offering him. He said it was, quote, an opportunity to be a part of something special, adding, I would be changing my DNA if I was leaving just for the money. Guys, one more player willing to sacrifice to be a part of this Miami team. Kevin?
Haslem, so respected league-wide. Good to see him stay with the Heat. Thanks, Doris. You were talking about Dallas in the postseason. How do you lose the label of being soft in the playoffs? And what can they do, Clark? You mentioned the word matchups, and that's what the playoffs are, matchups. But when you're labeled soft, that's a team label.
Yeah. And sometimes I think that can be unfair.
Yeah.
I think the Mavericks have been more of a finesse team, but in recent years they have shown some physicality as well. And sometimes your physicality just doesn't match up to your opponents. That doesn't mean you're soft. That just means you may not have as much as the team you're facing.
Barea. Dallas, no good that time either.